This is Curt Blackburn's persuasive speech. I'm going to scan the audience.
Hams. Hams. And right there is where I shall be sitting. And you're on.
How many of you would hand a loaded firearm to a child and then leave the room? I'd assume that none of you would, but this happens every day in the United States when parents leave their children at home with loaded, unsecured firearms. So today I'm going to talk to you about properly securing your firearms around children. And after listening to this speech, hopefully people with children and firearms in their homes will make sure that their firearms are properly secured. Now, I know there are a lot of people out there that don't believe in securing their firearms because they want quick and easy access to them for home defense. But I will show you that there are ways to secure your firearms and you still have quick and easy access to them if you need them. Now, for those of you that believe that all firearms should be secured, I will show you that there are a variety of ways to secure our firearms around children. Now, I've grown up around firearms, and as an adult, I have firearms and 2 young daughters in my home who are 6 and 3 years old. And I've also worked around ex-police officers who have told me stories about calls they responded to involving children and firearms. And I've also found information online about properly securing my firearms around children. So with all these things combined, I am very conscious of how I secure my firearms around my children. So we will look at the problem of not properly securing our firearms around children, at ways that we can secure our firearms, and the benefits of securing our firearms around children. There are 1.69 million kids in the United States living in homes with loaded and unsecured firearms. So what this basically is equivalent to is that 48% of gun-owning households with children do not regularly make sure that their guns are equipped with child safety locks or other trigger locks. Now, if you wanted to find more information out about this, you can go online to kidsandguns.org to find that information. Now, since there are so many kids living around loaded and unsecured firearms, I found some statistics online from 2008 that involve deaths of children and firearms. In Idaho, there was 11.5 kids per 100,000 people that died from firearms. Now, in that same year, throughout the United States, there was 10.3 kids per 100,000 people that died from firearms. Now, if you wanted to find out more information or more statistics on this, you can go online to statehealthfacts.org and find that information. Now, this reminds me of a story that a coworker told me about a call he responded to while he worked for the Parma Police Department. This call involved an 8-year-old and a 14-year-old, and the parents were not home at the time. Now, the 8-year-old boy was in the living room cleaning a .22 caliber rifle, and his 14-year-old sister was laying on the couch. Now, the boy supposedly had been properly trained on how to handle firearms, but this firearm accidentally discharged and hit his sister in the middle of the chest, and by the time the police responded, there was nothing they can do for her because she was already dead. And then after conducting a search, they found 8 more loaded and unsecured firearms in the home. So now that we talked about some of the problems of not properly securing our firearms around children, let's look at some of the ways that we can secure our firearms. One of the first things I want to talk about is the types of storage that we can use. You can use gun cabinets or gun safes, and there is a wide variety out there to choose from, and you can spend anywhere from $100 to thousands of dollars depending on how fancy you wanted to get. Now, if you didn't want to spend that much money or cannot spend that much money, you can buy individual locks for your firearms like this. This is a trigger lock. This just goes right in through your trigger guard like this, and then you lock it into place. And now this firearm is secured because you cannot access the trigger. Or if you didn't want to use something like this, you could use what's called a cable lock. It just goes right down through here, locks into place, and now this firearm is secured because this firearm will not fire while the cable lock is in place. So these are 2 fairly quick and inexpensive ways to secure your firearms. Now, I know there are a lot of people that don't believe in securing their firearms because for home defense they believe that they need to have quick and easy access to their firearms. But I have all my firearms in my bedroom in a keyed gun cabinet, and I know that I can easily access them the way I have it set up in a matter of a few seconds if I needed to use them for home defense. So there are ways to properly store your firearms to make sure that they are properly secured and your children are safe. Now, if you wanted to find out more information about what is available to secure your firearms, you can go to www.cabela's.com and look up that information. So now that we have looked at some of the problems of unsecured firearms around children and some of the solutions to properly securing our firearms, let's look at some of the benefits of having secured firearms around our children. The obvious benefit is having a safer home. If kids have less access to the firearms, then there will be less deaths and injuries due to firearms and children, between firearms and children. Now, over the last few decades, we have seen results of this, people becoming more educated about firearm safety around children, because deaths involving children and firearms has dramatically declined since the 1990s. And I found a statistic online from 2009 that shows that the homicide rate involving children and firearms was down to 8.9 kids per 100,000 people. Now, if you wanted to find out more statistics or more information like this, you can go online to childtrendsdatabank.org. So in conclusion, we have just talked about firearm safety around children. We learned about some of the problems that come from not properly securing your firearms, and we also learned some easy ways to secure our firearms and the benefits of doing so. Now, I found a public opinion online that showed that 70% of Americans believe that there needs to be more done to educate parents about how to keep their children safe from guns and on proper storage methods. But I personally believe that this number should be 100% of people wanting to properly educate people and properly learn how to store their firearms. Now, I also found online at kidsandguns.org a statement that I believe is true. It says, all adults have a responsibility to protect children from gun-related deaths and injuries. And I believe this is 100% true. If you're going to have firearms and children in the same home, it is your responsibility to make sure that they are safe and that their firearms are properly secured. So what I'm asking everyone to do is, after this speech, if your firearms are not properly secured, to go to the nearest sporting goods store that sells firearms, buy some type of security device for your firearm and secure it. Now, I know money is tight in most people, so I know that Walmart sells a Winchester trigger lock for $3.97 and a Winchester cable lock for $5.97. Thank you. Now scan everyone.
Here we go.